All right.
Okay, the stream is started, and we are streaming into beam.xyz. Let's try again if it comes through. Okay, it says it's live. Press enter event. Acquiring video. Let's see how it does. Oh, there we go. Show starts in 3 minutes 50 seconds.
Wiring video. Oh, there we go. I see. Oh, yep. Okay.
Why 3
minutes.
minutes? I thought I
I
set
don't
it.
know.
Okay, well, that's fine. Okay, let's put this off to the right. And because everyone can see my screen, obviously. Okay, well, there we go. Welcome everyone to this water cooler chat. It says it's starting in 3 minutes. I wonder if I should I wait the 3 minutes? Why does it say 3
I mean, you
minutes?
might as well start it. You know.
If it starts in 3 minutes, does it start from the beginning of when I just started speaking, or does it start in 3 minutes? Like, does it cut in halfway?
I have no idea.
Because what it might be doing is it might be like taking a 3 minutes worth of frames and like maybe accumulating it so that there's no like issue with playback. You know, like live video might be like there might be like, you know how there's like a 15-second delay, but like, or like
right.
30, maybe they just do like a 3-minute delay so that there's like no problems.
Maybe.
Well, either way. Okay, well, either way, let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another weekly water cooler chat where we talk about all things Livepeer. Today, we are going to be going through an exciting weekly water cooler, and we actually are streaming this live on beam.xyz. So if you have the link, if you're here with us, obviously you're watching it live, so you probably don't need to watch it live again. But for other people that are not in this chat, it is being streamed through the Livepeer network onto beam.xyz. And I'll throw the link in the event chat. I threw it in general chat, but I'll throw it in event chat too, because I would love some feedback on like how it goes. So hopefully we can use beam.xyz as a regular place where we can do these weekly water cooler chats. So if you are new to the water cooler chat, please, in the audience, everything is pretty open here. Everyone is invited up to come speak. If you are interested in coming up to speak, just put up your hand and I'll invite you up to the stage where you can introduce yourself and join in on the discussion. Everything's pretty laid back, but we keep it mostly to all things Livepeer. So yeah, just go up and throw up your hand if you want to come up. Otherwise, we'll start with introductions, and we'll go through everyone through the list here. So I'll start with myself. I'm Titan. I run the Titan node orchestrator pool. Been operating since May of 2021. And yeah, my topic today is all about live streaming through beam.xyz. So and different Web3 applications. I guess, like, what is the killer app for Web3 live streaming, right? That's kind of my my topic for today. So, killer app for Web3 live streaming. Sorry, I'm just typing this in as well as we go. So yeah, that's my topic and that's my introduction. We'll move on to Authority Null. Would you like to introduce yourself on a topic?
Hey guys, Authority Null. Been orchestrating since November of last year. Topic today is well, it seems like from what Doug and Yondon have talked about many times, we'll probably be getting some new features for orchestrators to play around with, like object recognition and content recognition and that kind of stuff. So I'm really curious as to what hardware would be best for that kind of stuff.
In the next 15 minutes to half an hour. Okay. It'll just depend on.
I'm just gonna move. How do you say his name? Quaghan to the audience because
stuff.
his microphone is
sounds
on.
like as to what hardware would be best for that kind of stuff. All right. Sorry, the live stream started playing too, and I was hearing myself.
Okay, so the live stream started playing for me too, and then it's being re-recorded back through. Yeah, so I cannot watch the live stream because I'm the one recording. So, okay, I think we're live. Authority, would you like to continue? Sorry for all the technical difficulties.
Yeah, no worries at all. Yeah, so really just curious about what kind of hardware we should be looking into when it comes to more AI-driven stuff. I'm assuming the 1070 isn't really going to cut it when those features come into play. So I'm just curious of what the limitations there are for the cards we're using now, and which cards we should be looking into getting, and whatever other hardware might be used by those kinds of features.
Very cool. That's a great topic, and I think that's like the idea of AI and image recognition in Livepeer is like super powerful. So yeah, I'm excited for that conversation. Thank you for joining us, Authority. Jjassonn, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic? Jjassonn, you with us?
Oh, he's
Oh
gone.
no, his microphone probably. This sometimes happens with Discord. I'll invite him back here.
Hi guys, I'm Jjassonn. I'm running Average Node. I've been running it since May of last year. And today I don't have anything to like ask. I'm just listening. Maybe if I have something on later, I'll of course put it out there. Thanks.
Very good. Thank you for joining us. Awesome to have you. Ftkuhsman, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Hey guys, Joey here. Been operating Ftkuhsman node since June of last year. I don't have any specific topics today, other than the usual. If anybody has any questions or comments about the ARB node, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just listening in.
Yes, the permanent ARB node topic for you, Mr. Sir. Thank you for joining us again. Chase Media, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic? Chase? Chase, are you with us? You're muted if you are talking. Okay, no worries. Well, that's fine. We'll move on. I'll invite Quang up again. I believe that's how you say it. I'm not sure. There was some background noise there, but I'm curious to see if he would want to come up and speak again. So, anyway, Papa Bear, I see that you are in chat, or you're not in chat. I always try to get Papa Bear up here. Either way. Cool. Okay, well, let's get started. Yeah, so the first topic I want to jump into real quick is just like the killer app for Livepeer and like different topics around just like using these services. So I came across beam.xyz. I believe they're like a live streaming event platform that utilizes Livepeer. And I figured this would be a good opportunity to test it out to see if these water cooler chats could live on beam.xyz. Seems like an appropriate place. So I'm just testing it out for the first time, and I'm hoping to see and get some feedback. Maybe, I'm not sure if we can watch it again later on beam.xyz. I don't know if they save it, but it is live stream there. Can anyone confirm if it's working properly? Authority, do you have it up?
Yeah, it looks great. It's smooth. Just curious what resolution you're playing it in, or if it even gives you an option to select a resolution.
Well, I'm pushing through on my side. My output is video is 1080p HD.
So it looks like it's being down-resed, possibly a little bit.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, because I'm pushing out HD 30 frames per second. So which is 1080p. So if you're getting something different, then maybe you're watching the transcoded version.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
But why?
It just looks little blurry, I guess. Like just not 1080.
Can you adjust?
I don't see. Yeah, I was looking for that. I don't see an option to adjust the resolution.
I wonder if that's built into Beam to reduce CDN costs. Like,
yeah, I mean that would make sense.
Like, I feel like the one cool thing about Livepeer is that, like, yeah, you might not want to give people the option to watch in HD because, like, maybe you want to reduce CDN costs, and like they're a startup, so obviously they have a lot of they have a runway, right? So they have a certain amount of capital they can burn, and I feel like the CDN costs are the most costly of all of them. Like delivering delivering to the end user is the most costly. So maybe they just don't even allow for HD to be delivered.
Yeah, I mean, it still looks totally fine, especially for this kind of application. But yeah, just something I noticed.
Okay, cool. But yeah, anyway, I was just kind of curious on I was thinking about making a video on this topic of like the killer app, like how you would use basic attention tokens to pay for people's video, that was all built upon like decentralized CDNs, transcoding, and like all these kind of things. So probably do like a video on my opinion on that, but yeah, anyway, that's basically just my topic. I just want to cover that real quick, but yeah, let's move on to the next one, which is Authority. Authority, you talked about features, new features for orchestrators, hardware for AI, and card limitations. Do you want to just expand on that a little bit and tell us your thoughts?
Yeah, sure. And just real quick, it looks like Papa Bear's having an issue getting into the Beam live stream. It's getting an error.
Something went
I'm not
wrong with the
sure.
player. Are you signed in? Wonder why it's doing that. Oh, here he is.
Sorry, I'll jump on for a minute. I actually have just the tail end of COVID too. That's why I wasn't going to jump on. But yeah, I am signed in, and I logged in with my Web3 wallet and tried it several times, and I keep getting that error. I just thought I'd throw that up because I thought that's where the chat was going on when you posted that thing up. And yeah, I could I don't know, couldn't get it to work. I'm using Brave, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But
I am as well. I got in.
I use Chrome, and that worked for me. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of curious as to like the reliability
yeah, I tried
of
both,
this.
like joining as I guess the normal way, and then there was one that said watch only, and I get an error on both of them. So I also I think have my security fairly locked down, so I don't know if I have to uncheck something, or I even turned off like any of the standard, just like if you sorry, I'm just a little foggy today. Just like if you click on like the little like the pop-up blocker thing that just like kind of like just turn it off like temporarily, and it still gives me that. So I'm not really sure what's going on, but you guys were talking about it, so you were asking if it was working for everyone. So that was my way of saying it's not working for me.
So if I click, yeah, I'm gonna try and enter the event, acquiring video for users watching. Oh, there we go.
So yeah, like temporarily, I would get like acquiring video, and then it would go to the screen that I posted up.
So yeah, it works for mine. I use Chrome and I can log in and watch it. So that seems really weird.
Well, that's my that's what I'm seeing so far. So I thought I'd share that.
Well, now that I've roped you into coming into the water cooler chat, do you want to introduce yourself and a topic, Papa Bear?
Sure. I am Papa Bear, and I run the Solar Farm Orchestrator. Coming up on about a year now. Topic, actually, I was curious to get more orchestrators' opinions on. I know some people have commented on in the forum, but on oops, sorry, I lost it. Is on the thing Alex is working on with the Orchestrator incident escalation pipeline, and I can put a link to it to the forum post if anyone hasn't seen it. Just I guess it's what it sounds like, the just how to report incidents and how they'll be dealt with going forward. And I was just I saw only a few people commented on it, and if there's anyone here that has thoughts, be interested to hear if there's anything that they can add to it, or they thought would be helpful to get stuff when there's problems, how to report them. I'll throw that in the event chat now.
Yeah, is that a GitHub link or something?
It's in the forum, and it's I just posted the link to it now in the event chat. It's a forum post from Alex, and it looks like the proposal is to do it on Discord with some kind of a plugin that I'm not exactly sure how it works, but I guess that we'll still use Discord as the main place to report incidents, and then there's some sort of a sorry, I'm I really am a little foggy today. Let me open the thing up and I can. So it would then it allows you to basically either the team, or it sounds like possibly they're even looking for moderator, like community moderators to help prioritize the list on what's the priority of the issues and how to prioritize them. So I don't know exactly how it works. I haven't seen plugins for how the plugin would work or anything, but it seems like a good idea to me, just on the face of it. And I know that most orchestrators tend to report things right into Discord, so it does make sense to do it there, as long as the team's cool with that. Seems like a good proposal to me. But yeah, I was just curious to hear everyone else's opinion on that.
I'm just
Or
reading
if there's anything that they can add to it. Yeah.
I'm just reading it right now. Tickets will now be triaged by myself or other members. That's a good idea, because like GitHub issues technically kind of go through the same thing, but they're like, I mean, GitHub issues take months for anyone even to triage them or to look at them. Whereas I think this would be a lot more quicker.
I would hope so. I mean, at least for like, the certain, I guess maybe one of the things that comes up is how to decide what goes into this and what goes into like a GitHub. What's a GitHub issue and this is, for me, is like something's broken. Like, I mean, the way I read it, or the way I think about it, is like, ingest notice down, like report that it's a priority. The network should be working all the time.
Yeah. I like the use of Discord. I think Discord is a really active place for us to communicate. So overall, I'm pretty excited to see how that works. And for
yeah, anyone else who wants to like take a peek through that and comment on it, I'd either comment on the chat or on the forum post would be great.
Does anyone else have any other suggestions that they've seen that have done well in that case? Well, what I'll do is we'll come back around to that, Papa Bear.
Sorry, I forgot we're not talking about it right now. I was supposed to give you my topic, so that's my topic.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Papa Bear. Great to have you again. Let's go on to some other people that have joined us. Mike, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Hey, Mikezupper. I run the Zodat XYZ Orchestrator. No topics in particular today. I'm still going to be, beating the drum on, more than one Livepeer broadcaster, but I'll leave that alone for today.
Very cool. Thank you so much for joining us. EliteProxy, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Hey, this is EliteProxy. I've been running the Elite Encoder node since October of last year. I just took the plunge and got some of these Netint transcoders and ordered those today. So with the recent update to Livepeer, and I think the support's there or coming to a stable release soon, I'm excited about talking about maybe what the latency might be, or if anyone's had a chance to try to benchmark those yet. And that's all for today for me.
Netint cards, yeah. I'm curious as to see how well those do. Have you benchmarked it yet?
No, just ordered it today, so they seem like they're about to ship it pretty quick.
Very cool. Did you get the new one? The one that does AV1?
The 408T.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm curious. I want to talk about that a bit later too, about those cards, and I'm curious about their application in like at-home miners versus like co-location stuff. So, yeah, curious about that. Thank you so much for joining us. Vires, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Hey all, I'm running the Racing Numeris Orchestrator, and I'm doing that since 2019, and no topic from my side.
Very cool. Okay, I'll post these in the event chat for topics. Oh yeah, and if you guys haven't noticed, if you are watching this live stream, there's a new feature on Discord called Party Mode, and it's only on for a limited time. But the more you do, it makes your Discord go all crazy. It shoots confetti and like shakes your car, like your whole screen and stuff. And yeah. So anyway, it's interesting. If you're watching my live stream, this is what Discord has decided to do with their spare time. Okay, let's continue on. Authority, let's hop back onto your topic. You talked about your hardware for AI and your card limitations. Sorry, we got a little distracted on that topic. Can you continue on with your thought process there?
Yeah, for sure. So I've noticed Doug and Yondon have pretty consistently brought up these new features at events they've been speaking at, which makes me think they'll probably be coming in sooner rather than later, maybe within the next year or two. And I'm just curious what our limitations are right now and what hardware we should be looking into for those kind of tasks. Obviously, we don't know how that's going to look, if we're going to be able to assign certain streams and certain workloads to different GPUs. But just from a hardware standpoint, I don't know too much about that side of things. Like, I'm curious what the limitations of the 1070 that so many of us use are compared to, say, a 2080 Ti, and then the Quadro cards, and if it's worth us as orchestrators considering um, investing in some new hardware for those kind of workloads.
Does anyone have any opinions on that? I think for the most part, like all the AI stuff, driven stuff, can be done by, like, isn't it the CUDA cores that do all that stuff? Like, it's not necessarily the encoding and decoding chips. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about as well.
I believe so, and I don't think that it's as it's very processing intense as you might think it would be. Um, I know that when they were first working on this, they weren't using any really high end cards to do it. So I don't know if it's optimized for to not need the latest and greatest. But I think that the relatively I think the cards that most people are using should be able to handle it. At least from just what I remember when it was kind of first started talking about, or maybe not first started talking about, but like a year ago when having a little chat with Yondon one time, it didn't sound like it was going to be too anything like too intense as far as new hardware needed to do it.
Well, that's
Not
great
to say that
news.
newer stuff may not work better, or they may, if they add features that go on top of that. But at least from the original implementation, I got the impression that a 1070 should be able to handle, scene classification at least.
Interesting. Yeah.
I think the biggest bottleneck would be in just like the type of video that's being run through. Like, all the new cards can handle AV1, but like nobody can do AV1 stuff on, like, your 1080 can't do AV1, so that's just, you can't do scene classification on that type of video anyway. So I feel like the limitation will be in the format of the video, not so much the actual job or hardware.
That's a fair comment. That will be the big limitation that starts to come in with the 10 series cards that they don't support. Actually, well, that's not totally true because the 1070 supports more than the 1080 Ti. So there's some holes in that logic. But yes, I think going forward, especially like as newer cards come out, then there will be codecs that are supported that aren't by the older cards. So that will probably be more of a reason to want to upgrade. But not so much for the processing power. Well, I mean, not so much for the CUDA part of it, but just the newer video chips. Yeah, I'm just kind of guessing at that, but yeah, I'm also curious to see just how much of that is what the demand is for that. who's actually streaming through the network and what codecs are they using to deliver the video.
I'm hoping that the scene classification stuff is like the do you want fries with that of transcoding, right? Like you go to McDonald's for the burger. Maybe you go to McDonald's. I don't know who goes to McDonald's, but maybe you go to somewhere for the burger, and like the real profit margin is in the fries and the soda drinks, right? Like that's where the real profits lie. And so you get them in the door using the burger, but then you upsell them all the fries and stuff. And like maybe that's like the scene classification. Like we already got sent the video, we're already manipulating it. Let's throw on some extra work, which is super high profitability because it's not too intense. We've already broken it down into the raw format, and now it can be manipulated easily. Because I think scene classification, I think the hardest part of it is that you have to decode it to begin with. Like that's the processing part that I think is the biggest, right? So, but then again, I could be wrong because I don't know. So, I don't know.
Yeah, well, thank you for the insight. It's pretty much just what I wanted to talk about. Really, that's it.
Maybe Titan, there's someone from the team you can invite in the future to come talk about this topic for us.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Classification. If I could spell classification, I can't even spell anything. Scene classification. There we go. Q&A session. There we go. Maybe I'll set that up.
That'd be great because they do love talking about it quite a bit. So I'm sure somebody would be good to give a bit more of a description on that.
Yeah, I feel like Yondon would be a good person, but I wonder if there's someone else in the Livepeer dev team that hasn't done a Q&A session with us yet that could talk about it, who's maybe an expert in it or knows a lot about it. I should reach out. Because I'd also like to interview other people in the Livepeer team that maybe aren't even in Discord very much. I think that would be...
whoever's working on it would be great. Yeah, I mean, I think,
cool.
And it's also nice just to know more of the team.
Cool. Okay, well, I'm going to do that. I'm going to reach out. Night Note, I see you private message me, but I am live streaming, and I don't want everyone to see our chat, so I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to read your message. Just FYI.
I was just saying I can't do an introduction, that's all.
You can't what now?
Do an introduction today, that's all.
Oh. Well, that is your introduction. Thanks for joining us. See, I got you. I got you and Papa Bear by doing that. Do you have a topic for us, though, Ryan? Well, I got you here.
No, I don't.
Okay, there you go. Cool. Anyway, thanks for joining. Thanks for listening. And great to have you. Okay, cool. Well, any other topics on that authority other than I'm going to try and reach out and find someone that wants to talk about that. Do you have any other questions specifically you might want to ask this person?
No, not specifically, but really just to add to, I think it was EliteProxy's topic of the Netint cards. From what I understand, you can't add the NVIDIA and the Netint flag at the same time. So I'm just curious when we get to your topic, if you want to test that and see if you can actually use an NVIDIA card and the other one at the same time or not.
Yeah, definitely we'll give that a try.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that.
And it should be easy enough to split those processes, just to run an orchestrator with two different transcode.
After that
True.
Yeah, yep, that's a good point. I probably
although
will.
I'm actually interested to know how the orchestrator would handle that. Would smart enough to send it to the right transcoder?
Well,
I guess we'll find out.
Don't we have the same dilemma with CPU transcoding? Like, you can do CPU, but like if you indicate NVIDIA, like it just doesn't do that. Doesn't do CPU at all.
Right, but there's no flag for CPU. It's really like if you add NVIDIA and then CPU just kind of gets turned off, whereas there's an NVIDIA and a Netint flag. So I forgot who it was. Someone was talking somewhere that it doesn't support both flags at the same time. So
yeah, probably that that transcoder setup would work better as a separate process. I've been trying to get that set up for a while and had some issues. I think it's just due to local firewall setup or something. So definitely we'll go down that road. But I ended up getting 2 of them. So at least I figured with 2, I could probably replace my current stream capacity. It said something like 8 streams at 1080. So it's extremely conservative, but let's say 8 streams per card. But my bet is that it does it way faster than anything else.
It does it way faster, or it doesn't?
I would guess that it does a lot faster. I had read somewhere GPU is like 2 to 3 times faster than CPU, and then by the same yardstick, ASIC was supposedly like 10 times faster than CPU.
Jesus. All right. Well, I'll be buying one
I
then
mean-
if that's the case.
And
Yeah.
at least from their claims, it doesn't slow down either. With you can run like the full limit of the card without any slowdown. Whereas we start to slow down as we get towards the max of the card.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and they're pretty affordable for. I'm running 1050s right now, which I don't think anybody really does. Hardly everyone's got 1070s, so mine feel even older. I should see a good improvement in transcode times, I would expect.
Did you we'll move on to your topic here because we're talking about Netint
Sure.
cards. Did you get the PCI ones or the server slot ones?
Yeah, I went for the PCI ones. I was confused for a minute, and it looks like the U.2 and the PCIe I've read are basically the same bus speeds. But the PCIe or the U.2 would be nice if you had like a server kind of form factor where you can just swap them out a little easier. But yeah, I don't have a motherboard that supports U.2, so I just went with the PCIe.
Because that was one of the things I was looking at with building like this Titan node miner, right? This Titan node ASIC miner was grabbing like a $90 motherboard, basically from China, and then throwing one of these ASIC miners in it, wrapping it up in a little box and selling it, right? And I wonder, like, and with the low power requirement, you wouldn't even need much of a power supply too. Like maybe even the motherboard could just run it.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. If I had a little extra cash to build a little computer, if I could find a good motherboard that would support U.2, that would be interesting. But I guess the PCIe is an option as well. So I didn't even think about PCIe until I started going to the drop down, saw that it was available for that. It's like, and they're also a little bigger, I think. You might want to think about the kind of case. They look kind of long, so I'll see how they fit, but they should fit in most standard ATX. But it'd be nice to have some micro ATX or something like that. But yeah, well,
the server ones. What is the I guess what do you call it? The bus, like what it connects into. Like, can you get motherboards that support that?
Yeah, my understanding is they're very similar to SATA. So it usually there's a plug pretty close to where all the other SATA plugs are on the motherboard, and you can just connect it with a cable. And I guess they make these server form factors where you can kind of push them in almost like cartridges or like a hard drive would or something. Yeah,
it's like a back plane. You can just kind of you can put them in like a little basically it's like a hard drive. You just slide them in. You can also get adapters to go from one to the other if that is depending on what you're trying to do with it. But I just for normal use, I wouldn't see any advantage of that. But for Titan, if you wanted to, like, if you're trying to do something like inexpensive, it may be cheaper and you're trying to fit something into a small case, and to use the M.2 version or the NVMe version and convert that to a PCI. It just might be cheaper to find a motherboard that works that way.
I feel like
in a small case.
Yeah, I guess it would be cheaper to find a motherboard with just the server like plug-in rather than a PCIe slot.
Yeah, that would make sense, and I think it would fit all together in a much smaller space if you use that U.2 format.
Ah, interesting. The more you know. This is, yeah. I kind of put the idea on the back burner just because, like, I mean, supply is out there. Like, I don't think anyone here lacks supply. Yeah, and we didn't support Netint, so like I didn't want to like get into like buying them. And then I was gonna buy one, and then I didn't because I've been super busy the last couple weeks here. But yeah, maybe I should dive back into that. I'm very curious. Although EliteProxy, if you are ordering one, I'm gonna wait until you bench it before I order one. If you don't mind.
Yeah. I was wondering if somebody else had any sitting around and they had already tried to bench it with the release that came out last week.
I think Marco was trying to do that with one of the internal ones and ran into some issues. I don't know what they were, but he was going to bench one, and I
Where are you guys getting these from?
What was that, Ryan?
Where are you guys buying from? Like, I tried finding some, and if they go to the company on their site.
I can barely hear you, but you can buy them on there. There's a link on one of their pages that you can order them.
Yeah, basically
it's like a trial thing or something. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's if you Google Netint, there's a certain web page, like their regular product brief page doesn't even give you a place to sign up for it, but it says early access program on it. You can put some info in there, and they actually will end up emailing you an invoice over PayPal and just paying it that way. It's kind of rigid, but yeah, looking forward to my tracking info.
I'm looking forward to it because, yeah, they sent me an invoice like 6 months ago, maybe a year ago, like, but I was just not like, there wasn't even any word of it being implemented, so I didn't do it.
Yeah, it seemed like the right time to jump into it and see how it goes.
Yeah, perfect. Well, yeah.
I've got a bunch of GPUs I got to sell. We bought way too many when we first got started, and all the different kinds. I'm having like a GPU yard sale.
How many GPUs you got?
Enough 1050s. I think there was 6 of those. And then we got 2 1660s that we'll be replacing. And then I think there's a RTX 4000 sitting around somewhere. It's just a bunch of junk. It needs to get sold.
Yeah. I went and bought a 3090. I spent like some guy like gouged me for $3,000, and I was like, no, I need this. And then I bought it, and I was like, oh, this is not any better than my like 1070.
It's actually worse.
Yeah, it was actually slower, and I was like, okay, well, I put it back on Facebook, and I'm like, 3,000. Some guy's like, I'll trade you like a 2080 Ti plus $2,000, and I was like, oh, done, sweet. So now I got a sweet 2080 in my computer, and I just use it for personal use. So upgrade.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, now you end up with like a GPU supply. That's the hard part about Livepeer is demand fluctuates, and it's hard to gauge. Like, I feel like this is a problem that like big companies have too. Like, they must feel this pain a lot. Like traffic is really it spikes, it goes up and down a lot, right? And we always hear of like outages, and like it must be just like, I've never been an IT person, so I don't know the back end of all this, but I suspect like this is a pain point for all the big boys.
Yeah, there has been a lot of different, the volume coming in the network, it's up and it's down here lately a lot.
Like, I feel like it's like the equivalent of traffic on like demand side, like computing looks like a graph, like the crypto chart, where it's just like really volatile and like up and down, peaks and valleys, and like it's just like really hard to guess what the hell is going to happen.
It's interesting to watch times of the day come and go, like a Friday night or Saturday night. You got a lot more streaming going on, or like a Monday or Sunday. It's almost a little different.
And then the real problem is not a real problem, but we're competing for work too. So whereas someone like YouTube gets to see all the network usage and make predictions on that, we are kind of blinded in a way where we can't really see the entire picture. And so, demand might be going up. Like we're reaching record high amount of minutes transcoded. There was a great interview done by, I think it's forget the name of the company. Missouri. They interviewed Doug, and they had pulled like a ton of on-chain stuff and like a whole bunch of statistics, and like we're reaching basically peak, like we're all-time high for transcoded minutes. So like demand technically is going up, but the supply side I think is beating it still. Like it's still like supply, like there's more orchestrators joining faster than there is demand.
Yeah, I mean, the last week I'm down like 45% from my average amount of encoding going by tickets. So, or actually, it's about the same if you do it by estimated ETH per day too. So I didn't see that across the board on other orchestrators that have public dashboards, but yeah, last week was a rough one for me. And there was no issues with any of my machines or anything. They were all up and running. So some of it just, luck of the draw.
Yeah, I had a real big issue with a spike in work. In fact, Authority is in my pool, and he transcodes very well out of Toronto, my Toronto node, and it like peaked at like 20 streams, and then just somehow my orchestrator node like just couldn't handle it, and it crashed. And I have no idea why. It said it was killed in my Linux command, so I don't know if it was like a user command or like something happened, but yeah. So, or like maybe the verbrosity of my like logs is too high, like it's on like V6 or whatever the highest it is. Like, would there be an issue with it spitting out logs too much? It would just clog it up, like if it was handling 20 streams.
I mean, possibly if you're running into a RAM issue, but I don't know. I mean, I guess it's possible.
But I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, that was just an issue I had earlier. But these Netint cards, I'm really excited about. EliteProxy, did you have any other comments on those Netint cards or anything that you're looking into?
No, that's pretty much it. I'll make sure to post an update and let you guys know on Monday on how the benchmark goes. And yeah, hopefully I get them pretty soon, in a week or so. And I'll just use that old release that, it might have some issues, but I think it probably could benchmark. And maybe Marco's got some updates to look into, so stay tuned for that.
Very cool. Does anyone want to comment on the update that came out? I never did update, but I was getting pings that it wasn't stable or something. Does anyone want to comment on that? I don't know what actually happened.
Yeah, I ended up rolling back a few of my nodes. Specifically, Singapore seemed to get the most errors out of every other region. And Yondon had said it's a specific video type, so it makes me think that Singapore gets those kind of formats a lot more than any other region. But yeah, it was pretty bad. I was getting errors in replace of test streams. So they were like the segments were trying to push through, but something was not letting it do so. So it was failing test streams. Had to roll back. I still have the newest release on a couple of my servers, but I do get errors on them from time to time. So it doesn't seem like a good idea to upgrade just yet.
For me, I upgraded everything pretty like within an hour or two of it being released, and my work completely stopped across the board. I did not get one job while I was running them, so I think it was a different issue, but I got no work at all when I was running the latest release. I will say on a split OT, I had it was a pre-release version that I installed like the day before. I thought I was getting a jump on. I thought it was actually the actual release, and I just kind of didn't catch that it wasn't. And that surprising, for some reason, actually, and that was in Singapore, that ran fine. But when it was on this, it seemed like if it was a combined machine, it didn't work for me at all. So it was different than what was reported from Yondon with it being certain streams, unless that just happened to be that's what I got for like 3 hours. But yeah, I got on all my combined machines, not one job during the time I had them installed. So I rolled.
Yeah, I run the Docker setup, and when I upgraded to the latest well, first off, there wasn't even a latest image. I had to go like hunt around to find it. And when I found it, there was like it was like just an abnormal version number, but it was tied to the latest release. So I tried it. It didn't even run. Like it just threw some, seg fault error immediately on NVIDIA something. And then I pasted it into the chat, and then I just rolled back immediately. So I didn't even get a chance to run it because it didn't even work.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it seemed like that may have been, obviously it was rolled out a little too soon, but I'm surprised that wasn't that those issues weren't caught before it was released.
Is anyone watching this on beam.xyz?
Yeah.
Is there a chat feature going on? Like, are people able to chat to each other?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anyone chatting?
A couple of really interesting words on there. Someone said hey, another person said hey. That's about it.
Because I'm trying to log in on my phone. Because obviously, if I log in on this, I get tons of feedback and I ruin the stream for everyone. I think one of the coolest things, I will just go on a bit of a tangent here for people watching live and for everyone in here. One really cool thing that I noticed was that you get to sign in with Web3, which means I got to start this stream and run this without having to create an account, which was really cool. I was really happy that I could, without having to put in a username and password and like log in and like do all this stuff, I could just create this stream and get going and then share it with a bunch of people. So I thought that was really cool. Just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
I also logged in using my wallet too. Just I mean, I still can't see anything, but that was the method I took. I wonder if I created an account, if it would work.
Yeah, let me see if I can log. I'm trying to log in on my phone. Continue with share. I don't want to share my stuff. Huh. This is weird. I can undo. Hide my email. Use passcode. Hide email. Well, there you go. Anyway, I'm 18 years old. I agree. And all these kinds of things. Why does it ask me if I'm 18? 10 for free. No. Enter event. Address. I can't. Oh, on your phone you have to download an App Store app. Interesting. Just kind of curious about how that works with the iPhone and stuff. Beam Co-Watch app. Oh, I should have probably downloaded the app before I started this. Cool. Okay. Yeah, this is an experiment. I'm just experimenting with stuff because I think this water cooler could be a really good intro into like doing some regular live streams. I'm also really curious as who's transcoding this live stream. Anyone want to take a guess?
Probably varies.
Odds, if you go by odds are it is.
You would think that maybe even where it might be, because I wonder how far away it's going. Like, I wonder what the loop is, because I'm sending it from my place, and would it hit? No, because it would have to go through an ingest node. They're probably using Livepeer Inc., so it's probably going to Los Angeles. That's the closest node for me.
All right, well, LA ingest is
LA's pretty much dead, so it's probably getting rerouted to somewhere else if it's working.
Oh yeah, it is dead. I'm not even transcoding anything in LA.
Yeah.
No, I don't think anybody is.
I know, because I do a lot of your transcoding in LA, and it's just been dead. I mean, LA's been dead for a couple weeks now, I think. At least a week for sure.
So maybe it's going to Toronto or Chicago, because that's another slightly close place for me. So I wonder, like, doesn't that seem inefficient though? For like, although I guess that's just how live streams work anyway. Like, for this stream to go all the way to Chicago, get transcoded, and then get sent out everywhere else around the world. Or is that just normal? Is that just how it goes?
Well, ideally, it's going to go to the closest ingest that's available. So I mean, wherever that is, if it's close, then that's great, and if not, then yeah, it's not ideal, but it's got to go somewhere.
Because I literally in my house where I'm doing this live stream, I have a transcoder in the basement, right? So like, you would think that the best ideal way would just be to go there and then head out to everyone else. But obviously it has to go to an ingest node, which is a broadcaster issue. Anyway.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, it's definitely going through Livepeer.com because they're the only broadcaster right now on the network. So they're definitely using Livepeer.com. Funny, I just got a couple of segments coming in LA. Maybe it switched over to us after with us talking about it.
There you go. Keep her going. Let's move on. I want to move on a little bit and talk. Papa, you had your topic around the incident escalation pipeline. What, in your opinion, I guess, what is the best solution for this, and how do you think Alex is going about it? I obviously don't want to roast him; he's not here. But
yeah, no, it's not a roast in any way. I think it's a great idea, and I don't necessarily have an ideal solution. I'd like to see just anything basically. That's kind of been one of my things for the last couple months, that I just feel like a lot of these issues take a while to get resolved, if they get resolved, and they kind of just seem to like get ignored, and then nothing happens, and then a couple months goes by, and like, you know, we're sitting where we are now with LA still not working. It doesn't seem like Frankfurt seems to be down for a long time too.
See, I tend to look at the other end of the spectrum, like, you know, and I work in corporate IT. I've worked in e-commerce for decades, and you know, you got 24/7 availability. You have to have it. You know, you're taking dollars every second, right? You can't be down. And the thing I found is, as a consultant working for years with these companies, is that, you know, it's on the infrastructure side. Like, I wonder if there was, you know, some way we could get to understand better their infrastructure, because typically we shouldn't be the ones notifying them something's down. It should be the other way, where we could go to a site and see, oh, service in LA is down, where, you know, immediately, like, we wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, it's backwards, where it's reacting to the problem versus being proactive and building proper automation and infrastructure and scaling it. Now, again, I don't know what they're doing there, so I can't say they didn't do that or they're not doing that. But I tend to see, oh, thanks for the heads up, let me go notify somebody, and then we'll get a message back saying, hey, it's working now, because somebody went off and, you know, gerbils are running on the hamster wheel, and, you know, something happened, right? But, you know, it would ideally be, they would be coming forward proactively saying, hey, by the way, this is down. Or there'd be a bot saying, oh, we just noticed streams are lost on this server. And then we would be able to look at our stuff and, you know, accordingly respond to it, versus, hey, again, I think the idea is good where we are right now, but ultimately it should be, how do we get insight and visibility into the manner in which we monitor and keep the sole broadcaster working, right?
I totally agree with that, because it kind of blows my mind that I mean, like you said, that we are the ones to report this stuff. I mean, like, I would think like, hey, something should be triggering, going, hey, the streams there's no streams coming through here. Or if normally there's 100 streams, there's 2 that are coming in, and something like, why isn't someone just being internally notified on that? And I mean, I feel like it should be like, again, in the past, like when I did live streaming, there was always someone monitoring this kind of stuff. And, you know, whether we were notified or just someone was like literally sitting there watching it, and if a problem happened, I mean, it was like, we had a 24/7, response to that kind of thing. Like there was always someone there to take care of that stuff. So it was really, I mean, I guess maybe now we've just gotten kind of used to it, but yeah, in the past, this was just been like totally unacceptable for,
I would rather work on a system in which we collectively monitor, the nodes and pass streams to it, and then get feedback ourselves that we can report on to say, hey, these things are down, and then we could notify them if that's the approach. But I would rather not get into paperwork in terms of forums and posts and tickets, because again, just manual stuff where people have to get involved, and it just takes a lot of time and churn to go through whatever their internal processes are, and then finally get the feedback. By the time we get the message to them, and by the time we get a response back, we will have already figured out it's back again. Or, you know what I mean? Like, it just, I don't know. I think it's something that if we're going to spend energy somewhere, let's do something that, provides high value returns versus this is a good idea. It's definitely worth the conversation, but I just don't, I think that's going to be a lot of manual labor. And then they want to, I have to mention the comment about, the community taking part in that. And it just seems like, hey, we don't have the right monitoring in place. Can you guys help us? Right. Like, well, I don't know. Maybe that's not their message, but that's what I heard.
But, even more than that, or I guess building on that is that even when we report that things are down, they still don't get fixed. And like, I'm just shocked that that's not a bigger priority. Like when you say like, hey, like Los Angeles has been down for a week now, and it's been reported multiple times, and it's still down. And that's just like, I mean, is there something major going on? And or just I don't really have, I don't know what to say. I mean, it's still shocking to me that again, LA.
Well, the part for me as an orchestrator, there's two parts to it, right? Like, I'm always worried that something's down on my side first, right? Like, I'm looking around, I'm doing all my research, checking logs.
I mean, it's still shocking.
But then I realize, wait, I just never got anything at that time from that location. So what happened? And then I go back and then I see in the forums, oh, it was down, and it's down for a week. Like, oh crap! Like I spent, I don't know how much time just reviewing everything, making sure like all the stuff's up and there's no logs and there's no errors, and again, it's to find that the node is down. I didn't even know until some of you guys started chatting about it. So, but it was just like, wow, okay. But anyway.
So I could be wrong on this, but from what I'm hearing from some people in some chats, they have a pretty small crew when it comes to the infrastructure side of things, so that might be part of the issue, is that they're running on just not a lot of resources.
That's
so maybe
fine.
they're just, yeah. I mean,
but they're a public company, right? Or
yeah, no, I mean,
they're definitely making for profit. So if they're small there, it's going to affect their ability
right.
to scale, especially when you're looking at Lens protocol. I've been following all the latest marketing team, the hype going on behind it, but you can't keep an ingest node up, then you're done.
Yeah, I mean, it seems incredibly important to have the right amount of people working on that stuff, and like Papa Bear was saying, and you as well, Mike, the 24/7 thing, it's really important. Like, to have an ingest node, multiple ingest nodes go down for almost 2 weeks
Well,
it's
right. If you look at
unsettling.
the number of hours a system needs to be up, right? And again, you have to pay for that, and it's not cheap, right? To like you said, you have a small crew, but the company speaks. When I work with these different organizations, it's along the lines of, what .9999 do you go? How far do you go to keeping that system up? Like 99.999, right? Like, or not 4 nines, or in our case for Livepeer, we're probably in the low 90s in terms of availability across the network, and that's not good. Again, it's just like an e-commerce. This is like money being exchanged here. We got to keep it 99.999% of the time up across all nodes, and we need to know, on a regular basis when it's down and how often, like, so that if you look back at a year's metrics and say, we only were down 100 minutes that whole year, like those kinds of metrics matter.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the core of business is streaming videos. So like, if they're spread too thin, I think then, I mean, and again, it's not my company to decide this stuff, but it seems like they need to maybe scale back on the expanding if you can't get your main core stuff working right. I mean, just, you know.
I would just love it if they had a little bit more transparency on it. Like Yondon, besides the release, is basically now like silent, and a few other people are just like we have Alex who comes in here and everything, but Hunter doesn't come in here anymore. Like we really just don't get any kind of perspective unless you like really dig for it. And even just like a status update on some of this stuff would be really useful. It's just we're not getting it anymore. I don't know why. I feel like, especially now after like they had some of their events, like you want to be more on the pedal as opposed to off the gas, and it seems like that's the approach they're kind of taking right now.
You know, I will take some of the brunt of this because like I could put more effort into getting and encouraging them to come to these water coolers. You know, in the beginning days, I was doing regular interviews. You know, somewhat semi like every other water cooler. I try to get someone to do a Q&A or like I haven't done that for a while, and it's really no good excuse. I've just been super busy. So I will take some of the brunt of that. I could attempt to make these water coolers a little more educational, a little more formatted. So I will say that I will maybe put some more effort into that. So just
I mean, I think that's a separate issue. I mean, obviously that would be nice to have, but I still think the bigger issue is just what comes off to me is just lack of I mean, like, I don't even know if it's lack of concern. It still just shocks me.
It's the MVP mindset. It's the let's get to market quickly, let's deliver, let's start to build and iterate, and we'll expand and scale. But I think what's happening is, to the point is the investment in the infrastructure is probably not where it needs to be. And I think maybe this will be a chance for them to relook at that just from our perspective, because again, if the single broadcaster goes down, we're all, we're starving here, right? We're getting our worms from that bird.
Yep. At the very least, like half of us have Uptime Robot. They don't they don't have any kind of dashboard.
Well, they
that,
do, but
like,
it doesn't work. They do have one, but it's never updated though. Like it says everything's running fine, and it's not.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying is it's not the dashboards, it's the actual infrastructure. It's the processes on the servers and the configuration of them to make sure that they're ready for prime time. And again, I'd be more than willing to jump on a community grant, with some folks that would really, hammer out the right stuff, because again, it's got to be focused on how do we make sure the broadcaster's up? How do we make sure the orchestrators are up, right? Like I want to know without having to go dig around all the time. Like looking at dashboards is fun, but I want an alert on my phone saying, oh, your node over here is down and it's not transcoding, or, this orchestrator lost connection to that transcoder. I don't want to have to go hunt that, or the block polling interval failed. Like those are the things that for us to grow and scale as a platform, these are essential points that have to move as everything else moves. It can't just be let's react because something failed here.
Yeah, and I think
just for those that aren't aware, I posted a link in the event chat for the Livepeer status page, and and you can sign up for notifications on there too. And I mean, I did get one last week saying that stuff was down, but I think that was after it was reported in Discord by members that things weren't working, and then it was like then once someone gets a call, they did go in and get something running. Let me look at it, see what it says. So on the 12th, it looks like stuff was down. The whole network was down, according to this, for about an hour. But other than that, I mean, it's been down. I mean, there's still things that have been down. And it says it's been resolved, but LAX was never resolved. Frankfurt was never resolved, but it's listed as resolved. And if you look, from then until today, no incidents.
Yeah, but remember though, if everything everything inside their infrastructure is up and running and their monitors internally are saying they're up, that's probably what's feeding that information. The problem is you need visibility from the outside, the perimeter of your infrastructure to say it's down. So like, it's sort of like Cloudflare. You throw up those, those instances across all the geographies, and then you'll have these testers that'll just say, hey, this node at this location's failing, right? You'll get those alerts. But the question is, are they doing that? Internally they may say it's all good, and it may be, but when we are, out there running on the internet and using it, there may be congestion on the internet. There could be, proxy failures that they don't test normally. Like there's all kinds of things that, could fail, and you have to pay for that.
Agreed. I mean,
How do we now, again, Titan? I think the takeaway here is let's hopefully, start a conversation with Inc. and org and see, is there any transparency that they can tell us about, or is there perhaps a way that, we could start to look at that as a focus on their roadmap?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Or grant programs or whatever, or all of the above, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I don't know what the steps are to be taken, but I think that I think the Alex's thing to push forward some sort of like Discord app for issues is a good first step, and hopefully with good feedback we can like build upon that. Yeah, I think that's all gonna eventually come out, but like, yeah, I'm not technical, so I don't know exactly how it all works on the back end. So, but yeah,
Yeah, I'm not sure how the ticket system is really going to help with like these sort of critical problems, because at the end of the day, we're reporting them now and nothing is happening. I just don't see how something is suddenly going to happen because we have a ticket system. If nobody wants to look at the issue or whatever's going on, that's not going to change.
well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious, maybe someone makes a well-rounded post, a forum post on the issues at hand, and maybe come up with some solutions. That would be probably the best thing to do, I think, would be somebody here, or if someone wants to take the initiative, to nicely write up exactly what the issues are that we're having as a community, or at least what we see from our end, and then either specifically explaining what the issue is. If you can come up with some solutions, obviously put out some examples, but maybe just defining the issue to begin with really nicely in a forum post would get the attention of Inc. to do something about it.
Well, the thing there is everybody who should be aware of the issue has been pinged and is aware, and it has been described to them, and we've been told we'll get more information when the issues are resolved. But then it's just dead silence while things are still broken. So I'm just not sure how a forum post is gonna help with that, because we have no context. There's no transparency, so we don't even know what to ask.
What
Still waiting on the post-mortem from Yondon, who I get the issue hasn't been resolved yet, so there can't be a post-mortem, but there's just no information.
I'm sure it's an awareness issue, folks, especially if you're employed, right? And I manage many folks across the globe doing work like this. And, nobody wants to have somebody from management coming in looking at their problems, right? They're probably trying to fix it. So the awareness isn't there yet. But what happens is, enough pain strikes, it eventually has to get escalated to the highest level. So I think to Titan's point is, if we can come at them tactfully with some real specifics that target what the real problem is, and we come back with some thoughts, some ideas about at least having the conversation around it, I think they'll be receptive to that. I don't see how they could be negatively, respond to something like that. But I would probably avoid the internet forums and stuff, because you don't want to send out the bad optics around the network, right? Like, we're all dependent on this thing looking, and they're telling the story out there. They got a narrative, and we don't want to start countering that narrative. And
Yeah.
that's why I think the messaging going to them directly probably is better.
No, but that's actually that's almost ironic in itself, because they feel the same way. Like, oh, I don't want to make this public because we have an image to uphold. But like, the whole point of open source decentralized software is like, you can peer under the hood and look at all the problems. Like, that's what makes, right? Like
I'm with you. That sounds great. I mean,
Yeah.
that is the whole point, right? You're out in the open. Be out in the open. Don't hide when you have a problem, but publicly, parade around when things are good. If you're going to be out there, be out there.
Yeah, so
Full
like
transparency.
Yeah, so like a public post about some of the issues that we see, like that, I think that would be great. Like, I don't know, but like, yeah, because then,
Okay.
yeah, like, yeah, I don't see the point of hiding it, right? Like, but hey, that's just. I mean, then there is also a difference between airing dirty laundry on the internet. So that's
Right.
there's a fine line.
We want to keep it's just interesting because there's an organ in ink. That's the other irony, right?
Mm.
The
Well,
ink is not public, and they are not going to be as transparent as they can be as transparent as they want.
And I think like the thing around test streams is they're so integral to the Livepeer protocol and the performance of it that it seems like there's got to be a better way to decentralize that piece of it. Because if that's the part
Yes.
that, if I'm understanding correctly, is run by Inc., it's nothing related to their broadcasting setup. It's the Livepeer Explorer system itself, So it's got to. And it really doesn't affect, let's say if all the test streams go down, it doesn't disable the Livepeer network from transcoding. But what it does do is reduce the quality by not rewarding people who are performing the best. So, I mean, you could think in theory, you would end up, sending a stream to an orchestrator that's not really performing too well and end up with a laggy stream or something like that. So it has its impact, so it has a priority. And if it was more open source, more built into the protocol some other way rather than like some servers run by a company or something, then maybe it would be a better system.
See, I think that latency part, as it relates to the Explorer, I forget who it was I was discussing the roadmap, but they described, the fact that they'd be okay with that Explorer being a community driven Explorer where they wouldn't even have to have it, is basically what they were saying. Is that it's cool, it's good, but like it wasn't really like their focus in terms of where they wanted to go in the future. It seemed like they thought the community could handle it. And I also thought that as far as test streams go, if they're running test streams and there's latency, is it your system that's latent or is it their system, right? Because if the server, the ingest node is having problems, or if the test stream server itself is having problems, are you going to be penalized for that? Is there something in the protocol that bases selection on latency, that it's fed from these test streams?
Yeah, I mean that's what I understand is the
Really?
your performance leaderboard measurement is so if you have orchestrators set up all over the world equally, you'll do pretty well. But if one of those test stream sites is not working well, it seems to affect people who are further away, and sometimes it really is your system. But there could be impacts there as far as who's getting work and who's not getting work.
Well, I
See,
just
that's
gotta
the part
jump
I wonder, because sorry, go ahead, Papa.
the test streams do not have any say on whether you get work or not. I mean, if you have a good score, it would probably lead that you will get more work, but they're not used in the algorithm to decide who's getting work. It's really for us to be able to know do things look good on our end. Is there,
It's vanity is really what it is.
I mean, it's
right?
vanity to one extent, but if you're not getting anything, then it's worth checking your setup to make sure that it's working too. So I mean, it serves that purpose, but it doesn't. But I mean, sorry, your score there does not play into the actual selection directly. indirectly it does, just because it shows that you're doing well, so that you'll have a higher chance of getting selected just based on that you do perform well, but not based on that you have a good performance score. Does that make sense?
Yeah, if you look at my node, for example, Zodap XYZ, like I'm the top 4 or 5 global, and I have nodes at, all around the world, and I don't get work. Like, and I have decent stake, and I'm not in the top anything. So I'm not, the stake's probably my biggest problem. But again, if you look at it from a latency, because if there was anything related to latency, I would expect to see more work. And, I get on average like 2 or 3 streams. I mean, there's stretches where I get 0 and I'm in there looking around. Like I said, is something wrong? So again, this is an enigma to me, but, I don't know.
Maybe I got it wrong, but I know we've had times where the test streams were going really poorly, and I could see where I'd failed a lot of streams, and the volume seemed to be a lot less during those times. Or if I ever like mess up my setup and I drop somebody's stream, usually I don't get any more streams for the rest of that round. Stuff like
No,
that.
I would
Maybe I'm
agree
just
with that.
superstitious about it, but
No, I could also agree with some of those. Like I've seen some of that myself, right? I kind of, if I drop a node, I won't see work come to that node for quite a while.
yeah, I figured that the test streams were playing some similar type of role in selection, but otherwise I wouldn't understand the purpose of them, or why anyone would be concerned if they're not working, at some point.
Well, that's where I think the broadcaster is playing a part in it, right? I think the ink part, right, where the Livepeer services are playing a role, I think it is using that data somehow. I think there's definitely a way that you can tell a broadcaster to choose which orchestrator to use. So I don't know what they've done there, and that might be a part where we get confused, because there's probably something special there, some secret sauce of some sort.
It's always been said, like, since I started, like test streams don't mean anything, and we're like, I don't know, I don't believe it. So I always go based off of test streams, but it's been said multiple times that by multiple people that it doesn't impact how you get selected. But like I said, I don't really necessarily believe that too much, but it's just what's been said.
I don't think the test stream.
I mean, there's definitely there's quotes and stuff. I mean, if I scroll back and look from Jjassonn saying specifically that the test streams do not play any role in deciding whether you get work or not, but having a good score is indicative of getting streams just based on that you are performing well. But there is no actual tie into the test streams themselves dedicating or deciding who gets work.
Right now, getting work is, I don't know, like having stake is very, very heavily balanced towards whether or not you get streams. And like for months on the top, authorities been on the top, and like you get a decent amount of streams, but like we get less streams and less tickets than what people who have a ton more stake but also lower performance. So it's like it's just very heavily weighted right now towards
Ryan, what microphone are you using right now?
my car. I'm in my car.
Could you not use your car microphone?
I'm sorry.
Like,
of course, now,
I'm home anyway.
Of course, now it sounds fine. Now now that you said that, but
like I don't mean to be rude, but like I love your beautiful voice, and I really want to hear what you're saying, but your car is really making it hard for me to understand you. It just cuts out a lot. So I don't know if you could put it on like your speakerphone or something. Are you driving right now?
Well, I'm home. I just got home, but yeah, I was.
Yeah, you should just put it on like speakerphone or something. That would be great, because I think you've used that microphone before, and like it's just so blotchy. Like it's like, but like because we all want to hear what you have to say. Like it's like So anyway, just
for sure.
Just
no problem.
Just some feedback. Cool. Any last, I want to move on to a couple other topics that I thought about while we were having this conversation, including like the public exposure of Livepeer tokens that just recently happened. I don't know if you guys saw that. Some token gating features within Beam, and this idea of like an NFT open source project. So before we move on to that, do we have any last comments about like the performance or stream selection or any of the topics we were just talking about? Cool. Yeah, I think as time goes on, we'll continue to improve on the communications and everything within Livepeer. So I think yeah, it's important we see growth, and if we have issues, like I mean, Bitcoin back in the day, like people would make forum posts about the issues that they had, and like you can go back and read them, and that's just like the ethos of Web3, right? It's all open and transparent. So I encourage you, if you've got good ideas, write them up and publicize them. I think that's always a good idea. Okay, so I want to quickly go on to token gating, because I saw on beam.xyz there's a token gate feature. Does anyone know what token gating is? I think
yes.
Could you explain to me what it is?
So basically, what you're going to do is, or what people are trying to do, and they've been, prototyping a lot of this. I think I've seen some activity on GitHub with Livepeer doing the same thing, but basically, it's you write a smart contract, and you basically have all the capabilities of the blockchain at your fingertips. So you can create an NFT or a token of some sort that basically, your app can use that token or that smart contract and query it, and do certain things to say, hey, if you have this token minted, and they may give you a facility to go out and create one for yourself or whatever, but there's a variety of ways to do it. But if you get a token tied to your wallet, then you can enter the event, right? Like it's like a ticket from like Ticketmaster, but there's a process you have to go through from whoever's running the event, whoever's creating this token, that will allow you to enter, basically. I mean, that's a really high level explanation, so feel free to ask more questions.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at the functions of this this token gating feature, and it looks like I can like token gate because the event is live. I can't actually adjust anything, but it looks like I can token gate like Ethereum, like Livepeer tokens. So you have to own Livepeer tokens in order to watch the event. Is there some sort of like benefit, you think, to like token gating this water cooler chat, or is this like, should this just stay open?
Well, I mean, but you're going to you post it anyways afterwards. So, or you're saying just for as far as the
What?
launch part goes?
I guess it's just getting fancy using something that I don't need. Probably not for this chat, but yeah, I just saw that like Beam has all these cool little features that I want to look into, and vouchers, pay-per-view, and charge people to watch the water cooler chat.
Is for Beam. Sorry, Titan, my son interrupted me there, but basically they have a smart contract. Is basically what they're doing. So what they've done is they provide these features to you as the user. So like you could set up a rule that says, hey, anyone with a wallet that wants to watch my stream has to hold Livepeer in their wallet, and then if they don't get in, right? So then that could be something that
right,
users that access your system. So, but that's a pretty cool feature. Beam offered that.
Yeah, I'm kind of impressed by like how built out this thing is. Yeah, I'm curious if it'll get some traction. Yeah. So the other question I had was, so like Titan Node pool software, I'm probably going to be working on the back end shortly to like keep developing it. Right now it's built in like Python, but like I need to keep building it out. I wonder if there's like a way I could like live stream the coding process of Titan Node pool, and then like when it's finished, sell it as like an NFT of the open source project. And then,
they do that too.
Who does that?
Well, there's it's again still in a early stages in terms of folks, but there are people that I've seen. I haven't done it myself, but I've actually saw quite a few folks where they're trying to move their content from YouTube, and they started minting, video NFTs. And again, if you hear Eric talking, he always is going on the hype about this video NFT minting process. But you can mint any one of the videos you create, do the whole IPFS thing, store it, get the metadata, and I think there's a CLI tool that Livepeer offers that will allow you to generate the metadata and store your video and all kinds of stuff. So you can take that and then mint it, and then you can list it on OpenSea if you wanted to, and then anyone can go buy your video.
Does anyone have like do you have like a link, or like is there like a service out there that does this, or is this something I have to custom build myself?
Yeah, what I've seen was all pretty, you had to stitch together a bunch of blocks to make it work. I didn't see any company or service doing it. There may be some popping up and I'm not aware. So, but I can send you a few links to some things that I've read and encountered in my trails.
Cool.
That's so interesting. Do you think that the video NFTs would be like at an economic scale, be able to host like a larger video, like a movie size? Let's say if a producer made a movie and they wanted to sell it as an NFT, a video NFT.
Well, there's no size limit, right? Yeah, there's no size limit. You can put anything out there you want, So you can do movies, you can do. I think that Snoop Dogg has done some songs that way, where he created his whole album was a music NFT, a series of them where you can start buying them and stuff. And they're using it to they're using that facility to crowdfund, young artists who are trying to up and come. So they'll set up an NFT, like a video NFT, but it'll be pending and you have to just buy in to get it early. And then they'll have their concert, and then they'll release their concert as part of the video NFT. And then that way they can get traction and get people following their hype and stuff. I mean, it's crazy stuff. This world is changing, man. To companies like Ticketmaster and StubHub, I think they're all in jeopardy. They're going to be disrupted big time with this stuff.
Oh, I thought I heard that Ticketmaster or someone was starting to create NFT tickets. Like your ticket was an actual NFT.
Yeah, they're gonna.
And it's sort of like token gating kind of idea in the real world or something.
Right. But no, it's happening, man. It's real stuff out there.
I see Marco posted a link here. Livepeer video NFT.
Their SDK, their little CLI tool.
Yeah. It's interesting.
I've used that. It works. Yeah, it's pretty cool. On the way to integrate these little. They have all these little building blocks that are out there, and there's no comprehensive solution yet. But I'm stitching together my own, and hopefully I can come up with something. But it's still really, really early.
Is there any costs on the IPF? Like, what's the cost to mint like that? Is it higher if you store
IPFS
more video? Yeah.
The problem with IPFS is that you can't do persistence. If it's not active after a third, I'll start dropping the data and then it's lost, right? Unless you run your own node. But then there's another component to it where Filecoin comes into play, right? So they have integration where Filecoin is persistent for it. So if you wanted to put your movie, you could store it in IPFS, but through Filecoin, and let video or storage miners hold it for you, and then you have to pay for that storage, right? So it's going to be out in the Filecoin storage layer, and you have to pay for that. And there's right up to say, I'm going to store this out here for 1 year, 5 years, however long you want to guarantee, and all kinds of stuff. So it's still, like I said, on its infancy, but you can your own node and serve it from your own. And the infrastructure globally starts to push your own content out. But that's how I'm using it, store my own node and kind of publish my own stuff into my own local node, but nothing, large scale yet.
Wow, thanks for breaking down your experience with that, because that gives me a lot of insight into the capabilities of IPFS versus Filecoin and all these different use cases. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I gave you the the tip of the iceberg, my friend. The thing goes really deep. So
I've been looking at Arweave a lot myself, but that's a whole different rabbit hole, I guess.
Yeah, I looked into Arweave mining, and it's quite interesting. Not much demand for
that's
it either.
similar to Filecoin, right? Like it's a storage provider, right? I haven't looked at it too much.
Yeah,
it's a long-term storage.
Yeah, it's like a permanent storage thing. Pay one. So the difference between Arweave and Filecoin is like Arweave is pay once, store forever, and it's about $15 a gigabyte. Whereas
Oh wow.
yeah, so you pay once, store forever, and then Filecoin is just like a subscription model where you have to continue
Yeah,
to
that's
pay
what
for
I know.
permanence. Yeah.
Right. I didn't know there was a pay once model. I'll have to look at that. You said there's no demand for that? Sounds like, low end people would want to do that versus trying to pay over long-term periods of time.
I should say it's not demand. It's So we were looking at spinning up an Arweave node, and it's not that there's not demand. It's that there's just a lot of supply. Because yeah.
Yeah, I see.
But
Competition's high. A lot of people got storage.
yeah, a lot. Yeah. And so at $15 a gig, like that's quite expensive, right? Like if you think about it, like you can go to the store and for $50 you can get like 5 terabytes, right?
Yeah.
So
But it's not globally accessible though, right?
Yeah.
That's the big benefit.
Yeah, of course. It's not really comparable, but yeah, it's for video storage, I'm not sure if it's quite economical. Like, a gigabyte of video for $15 is very expensive. Whereas
I'll give you a perfect example. I'll give you a perfect example of my home scenario. Like I have a NAS server and I have, all my kids' videos and stuff from over the years, and I have, thousands, tens and tens of thousands of videos. So I got about, 4 terabytes up. And, I have an offsite backup and I have that thing. But if the offsite backup gets screwed or that thing gets burned up in a fire or something, like it's gone, right? So I would pay the one-time cost to move that whole thing out there, and then now I have global access to it anywhere, anytime. Obviously I want to protect it, but I think it would make a lot of sense if you can store those kinds of things. We'll see. It's an interesting proposition. I mean, I worked in companies where they were talking about these quote cloud companies and whether the cost benefit of running a data center versus moving to the cloud, and you can see who won that battle.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed by Arweave and Filecoin. Actually, I'm more impressed by IPFS than I am Filecoin, even though they're pretty much the same thing.
IPFS creators made Filecoin, so that's why I pretty much have been following Filecoin.
Yeah, Filecoin is fascinating. I've uploaded stuff to IPFS, but I've never used I've never paid for permanence. I've never also paid for anything for Arweave. So, it's all very interesting to see what will fit in with Livepeer or live video streaming applications. It's
for those that want to dive into the IPFS rabbit hole, I'd recommend there's a tool out there called Web3.storage, and it's really easy little web UI on top of the current IPFS public stuff. So you can publish files, update them, move them around, or do all kinds of you can upload folders, all kinds of stuff. It's really useful. So if you want to dive in, I know some of you guys have created the IPFS image for your node. So that might be an easy way to update it in the future for you.
Oh, look. Web3.storage. Pretty neat. Yeah.
I think you get like a terabyte of storage in the IPFS node for free. So that's pretty cool.
Very cool. Yeah, it's interesting to see where things are going. So yeah, I'm trying. I'm waiting for someone to build the application where I can mint a video NFT. Easy,
That's on my roadmap. I'm working on that one.
I know.
If I could ever get Mist working, I'm working on it.
I know Eric is pushing out that idea, and if you want to get in touch with him, he might be able to provide some resources if you're actually interested in actually building it out.
Yeah, like I said, I follow their GitHub. There's a lot of stuff out there that already kind of gives you the building blocks. It's just like I said, putting all the pieces together.
Definitely.
I want to grant together. I need to have some basic, elements working before I can do that. But I really want to put a a company that is an additional broadcaster, allows more streams, and then also enable some of these features, the mint and clip, the NFTs, and posting your streams as NFTs, all through Livepeer though, not through any of these other platforms. And so I think that's ultimately my goal, and I'm looking at a 12-month timeline for that. And I think ultimately getting a broadcaster out there, to me, seems like the most urgent thing, because we all can broker that work, right? If we can drive traffic to it and use it and leverage it, then it only pays us all in the back end anyway when we're transcoding it. So I think that's probably an area where I'm going to spend most of my time over the next few months. But the video NFT stuff is definitely hot, and I'm looking at that as well. So we'll see which one wins out.
Very cool. All right. Well, does anyone else have any other topics? We've pretty much gone through most of it. We've gone. The one topic we haven't gone through that is a permanent topic is Ftkuhsman with his Arbitrum node. Do you want to give us a quick update on what you've been working on and how things are going? And actually, the grant proposal, did you ever submit that, and what was the status of that?
Yeah, the grant proposal has been approved. At this point, I do need to connect with the Livepeer team, though, and discuss specifics. I'm not really sure what the communication protocol is there. I've commented in the GitHub issue, but haven't heard from anybody yet. So, but they are definitely willing to support it. At this point, I've just been trying to focus on making sure everything stays up and running. I mean, as a lot of people have seen, there are errors that keep intermittently happening, and I'm trying to pinpoint what's causing them. Yeah, I mean, that's basically what I've been working on at this point.
Yeah, I'm just bringing it up here. I haven't actually read it. My apologies. But yeah, it looks like a lot of support from it, and yeah. So they have conditionally accepted it, or have they reached out to you?
No, the only communication I've received is in the comment on the GitHub issue. So I have not been reached out to directly yet.
Because we're happy to fund this grant.
How does that work? Yeah, have you guys, a bunch of you guys have gone through that process. Is there an open exchange? How frequent is it? What are the types of, how often is that? And then how do the payouts work? Like when they finally agree to a deliverable, like how does that part work?
It depends. If you've broken it down in milestones, they'll usually, I don't know if this is every case, but they like to pay for the work that you've already done, the hours you've put in, and then do the rest through milestones. But they also, in terms of what you said about how they communicate, for my grant, they moved it to a Discord private chat. There were only a couple of people in that private chat. One of them was Nelson. And communication was kind of spotty, to be honest. Took a while to get replies.
Yeah, it looks so. Nelson is on the community grants program, along with, I believe, Eric and Shannon. So if they and they're quite slow sometimes when it comes to making decisions and coming to agreements. So if you've got some communication from them, then that's good. That's a positive start. Yeah, I would just make sure you keep following up, and I would even if you want to get paid, sometimes the best way to do it is to write out an itemized invoice and send it with payment instructions. And then, because it if you want to get paid, you've got to ask. And so giving clear instructions on what they're paying and where to go, I think, is going to be important, because they don't have a nice pipeline for you to go through. So you kind of have to lead them to the water. Just my opinion, or my experience, actually.
Well, good to know.
But if if they did accept it, then like I'd like to just give you a congratulations, because I think this is really positive for us as a community, and I'm just really glad to hear that you have made that progress, and I think we can all appreciate the community ARB node. I know all my nodes are running much smoother with it.
Yes, thank you. I deleted my Arbitrum node from Vultr, and I saved myself, $150 a month.
Yeah, it's been great.
But I like to hear.
Yeah, I've unplugged 8 of my Alchemy free accounts, and I've switched over to my one Ftkuhsman account. So
8 Alchemy accounts. You're a beast.
dude,
Yeah, yep, same.
dude, I need those free pull requests, So, but I even still managed to max out one of them, and it shut down the node. So, nope, Ftkuhsman node's much better. And even your updates on like when the node is going down, but the failover node is still up, like it's all just been working quite smoothly from my end. So I appreciate all the communication you've been putting out to it as well. Quite transparent, quite up to date, very professional.
Trying to keep it that way, and I want everybody to post on that channel if they experience any errors and stuff, because a lot of times what I'm seeing is people will get errors that on their nodes that I don't always get on my nodes, so I may not know that an error is occurring, like on your end. So getting those notifications is helpful.
Cool. Does anyone else have any comments on the community ARB node, or any comments for Ftkuhsman? I think overall the community ARB node has been a big success, and I'm glad you're spearheading it, Ftkuhsman, because we talked about it for like 4 or 5 meetings where we're like, yeah, this is a great idea. Like next meeting, yeah, this is a great idea. Like, oh, a community ARB node, that's a great idea. And then and it took you to spearhead it. So I do appreciate your ambition and pushing forward, and hopefully you get compensated for your time and effort. So yeah, I just think it's good for all of us as a whole.
And as I told them before, just in general, anytime you need support or assistance in terms of how to automate it, how to make it better, whatever, just you have run into issues, you need help, just let us know as well.
Absolutely will do.
Cool. All right. Well, do we have any last topics or comments we want to cover? We got about 15 minutes left, but if we're up for topics, then we. Yes, I do have one last topic. I will finish on this. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but this morning or last night, it's Monday. So this morning, Grayscale announced that they are launching a Livepeer trust. They're opening up their Livepeer trusts for OTC markets, and Livepeer is now available for to be publicly traded under the symbol GLIV, right? So I think it stands for Grayscale Live. Along with 5 other products they listed for public consumption. So I thought that was really interesting, was that out of all the protocols, like hundreds and hundreds of protocols that have great teams and great stuff going on, Livepeer is now publicly available, which I found really fascinating. Did anyone else see that Grayscale announcement?
I didn't. That's awesome. Didn't they
Yeah,
just
I'm not
recently
sure.
add Livepeer?
Say it again.
Didn't they just recently add Livepeer in general? Wasn't that only like 8 months ago?
It was April of 2021, I think. Is that April?
That's when we saw that huge spike, right? It went to like $100.
Yep. No, not 100. That was just craziness. I think they actually released their trust like a year ago.
Okay.
But
That's very cool.
yeah, so Grayscale obviously has institutional money, so it's for accredited investors only, and institutions, and they created a trust for Livepeer, and they announced it as a as a product for accredited and institutional investors, right? Which made the price go from like $2-3, jumped up to about $20-30, right? And then we saw the whole the run up in November to $100, which is pretty crazy, which I think was brought on by retail. And then, but just this morning, they launched that now that trust is now publicly available to trade. So people with RRSPs and 401ks can now dip into Livepeer exposure, which I find just absolutely crazy because like most protocols don't have that level of institutional embeddedness, especially for a protocol of our size. You know, like we've all heard of Bitcoin ETFs, you know, being published, and up here in Canada, there's, you know, we famously have one of the first Bitcoin ETFs and does really well, spot ETF. But yeah, Livepeer now is publicly traded tokens, and it's, you know, not even on the front page of CoinMarketCap. So really fascinating. If you do want to go look it up, I'd recommend going to the Grayscale website and reading about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Didn't know that.
Yeah, so that happened this morning. Along with 7 days ago was an institution doing a very large unstake. So it makes me, like, I feel like the correlation is there. Like, I'm not too sure if this person knew, but yeah, it was like one of these nodes had 1.3 million stake. They unstaked 500,000. And exactly 7 days after, when the unbonding finished, Grayscale announced that it's publicly traded. So makes me wonder. You know, makes me wonder as an individual. All the excitement.
Hey, loosen up the purse strings. Let me get some stake. I love it.
So yeah, I don't know if anyone's ever followed up with that unstaking from last week, whether they had withdrew their stake or not. Is Marco in here? No, Marco's not in here.
Vires, this is your domain, man. I'm sure you got something. You haven't been following this?
I've actually like looked at the on-chain data and was able to trace it back to someone named jft.eth. So, and basically he was like Merkle mining like crazy. So it doesn't look like it's a seed investor or somebody from the team, but just somebody that was like, yeah, going crazy during the Merkle mine. I mean, I think he's also an angel investor. So he has like a Twitter profile, Jeff Tong, it's Jeff Tong. And yeah, but that's basically it.
Cool. I knew you had an update. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you, Jeff, for saving the participation rate.
Yeah, are we below 50%
Yes, sir.
now?
We are now, yes.
So
48.5.
48.5. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
So,
that is nice.
but did that? So varies that person, I guess, that unstaked. Have they withdrawn their stake? Have you followed it that far?
I haven't followed up actually. Is it still during the unbonding phase,
Today,
or are they actually able to?
Today's the last day, or it's either this round or the last round they could withdraw it.
Yeah, I mean I can look that up if they withdraw and what they're gonna do with it. I mean, yeah, if they're gonna sell it, it's probably not that. But yeah, probably they would do some kind of OTC deal. I mean, you can't just unload 500k LPT.
Right.
But you have no idea what they're going to do with it.
I'm curious as to whether they will try and put it onto L1 again and do the 8-day period onto L1.
Did you say his name was Jeff Tong? .eth?
Jeff.eth, and the name is Jeff Tong. I mean, I'll just post what I found in the event chat.
By the way, I saw your Orchestrator experience YouTube, and so I actually can put a face to you guys now versus you don't know what I look like. I mean, aside from my picture, but at least I know what you guys look like.
Yeah, fair enough. Which one? Claim stake. Which claim? Is that the first one? No. Delegator claim. On this nframe.nl website, how do I tell who says unbonding, but is there a withdraw one? Withdraw stake. Oh, there it is. Withdraw stake. He hasn't withdrawn it yet. Oh, wait. ETH fees, withdrawing ETH fees, unbond. So I think he's still unbonding. Interesting. Yeah. Because I'm curious as to whether whether he dumps it on the market and then the price just goes tanking to the floor, right? But whether that's, like you said, he probably has some OTC deal where he's able to just move it without it touching the public order books. Well, anyway, that was some big news. Came out from Grayscale. Found it interesting, and it affects Livepeer in different ways. So, kind of curious as to how that all plays out. Because it seems like we're in a crypto winter now, and everyone's all upset that their gains are gone. And so I'm kind of curious as to how Livepeer will fetter out, and whether it'll be like the last bear runs where it just kind of goes way back down, or if it holds strength and stays up, and who knows. So anyway, what I'll do is I'll probably end it there. We've been at this for an hour and 52 minutes, live streaming on beam.xyz. It's been pretty interesting, and I think we had up to 16 viewers on beam.xyz, so that's cool. Yeah, so cool little experiment, and I'm just glad you guys all came. This has been a really educational week, so really educational meeting. So yeah, call it there. Thank you everyone for coming, and we will see you all next week. Cheers.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, bye.